what you did was unethical because you ran for an election, and when you lost it, you decided that you were going to start a revolution.
The most ethical thing that any human being can do is to aspire towards liberation. And you cannot allow your oppressors to limit your liberation agenda by conforming with their rules and laws and regulations on how to conduct your struggle for total liberation.
So based on that experience of 4 years ago and where we are today, is your messaging changing? Is what you are offering to Nigerians different? How are you going to try and ensure that you have a different outcome this time around?
The messages have not changed because the objective conditions of Nigerian people haven't changed. As a matter of fact, things got worse.
That's what
after
I was about to say.
2019. The only difference in our message is the urgency of now, and that people should understand that this next election is a make or my election. And I know people hear that all the time, but I always said, and I'll repeat here, that Nigeria is living on borrowed times, and these elections, if they do not encompass the wishes, aspirations, and the desires of Nigerian people to see a different path in terms of governance, that revolution you are running away from is upon you.
Given the sort of economic issues Nigeria is facing at the moment, do you have any sort of underlying principle, philosophy, strategy that sort of forms the thrust of the policies you will pursue to solve our economic issues if we elect you as president?
Yes. It's first and foremost to restore things that will make the country start working, the energy sector, the manufacturing sector, get the security situation under control through several means, the physical intervention, then the economic intervention.
You need to tell us in specific. We are now here for you to break it down. I am giving you
specifics now.
Okay.
The specific you probably never hear from the other candidates you'll be speaking with after today. It is for us to get back to work. I want to put electricity to start working in this country. And if we have 24/7 electricity, you will grow the GDP by, I think economists will be worried as to how to calculate that. If you do that, you will, of course, improve security as well. And you can bring manufacturing back, like my friend was saying about the social adjustment program that just prepared Nigeria to be a dumping ground for
Yes. What will you do differently that would give Nigeria power?
See, if government hadn't privatized electricity, it would be difficult to make the argument that we need to renationalize our electrical grids. They are so important, you can't give it to people who are buccaneers. What has happened to all our electricity?
So you will nationalize?
Absolutely. We are
distribution.
We are the ones
generation.
We are the ones still funding the privatized. You were talking about generation. Generation is also largely privatized.
Yes, but the only thing that isn't privatized is transmission.
Exactly. So what do you think happens? You sell to them. Government builds generating power stations. You sell to them at giveaway prices. You still have to give them waivers to import whatever they want to import. You still have to give them bank guarantees, government guarantees. You still have to get the CBN to give them grants to do what they, and yet you are in darkness. The government previous to this one spent $60 billion, trying to fix the electrical system.
Okay,
they
so
can't.
If you take it back and you nationalize it, how do you solve the problems that made privatization look attractive at the time that government decided they were going to privatize?
Because government was just doing trial and error. What is there that we cannot do? Why did we have a country that's 60,
okay.
62
What I'm hearing is a
old
program of mass sackings. If you ever
nobody is sacking anybody. It was privatization that led to the unemployment you are talking about now.
Okay.
And all the companies owned by the Nigerian government working and not privatized, a lot of people will be employed today. Government would have employed more people in those factories.
Okay.
But the people who you are subsidizing, who you are giving grants, who you are giving waivers, how is it that they have not been able to provide more people getting employed? Or instead, they go and bring outsiders to come and run businesses that can be run in Nigeria. Somebody will go to the Niger Delta and bring a Filipino to come and be doing underwater welding. But the biggest insecurity facing Nigeria are government officials who are fueling poverty and engaging in corruption, because that's how we got here in the first place. But for me to solve it first and foremost, and I'm sorry to say this on national TV, if it requires bringing in mercenaries into Nigeria just to end the kind of biting insecurity we have now, so that people can even have a chance to sleep and rest at night, I'll do it. That's number one.
Okay,
the second is to start rebuilding our military and security agencies. I'm sitting with 3 days ago, I was sitting with all the major security agencies in this country at the police headquarters in Abuja. And I tell you, one of the most pathetic things I heard from the table, and I'm not going to mention the name of the officer, they were whining over the fact that the U.S. was declaring that there's going to be attacks in Abuja, and it has to do with U.S. politics. And I'm looking at the man and say, why didn't you take action?
The cost of your specific actions, the cost of mercenaries, the cost of retooling, rekitting,
I have done that.
And how you would pay for it. What numbers
I have done that, and
at?
I've come to the conclusion that actually costs less to do what I need to do than what is costing us now for doing nothing.
For doing nothing.
Or doing the wrong thing.
Where will you find the money?
Wherever they are finding the money to do the nonsense they are doing now, stealing.
I believe the government needs to come to the community, get to the root of these people and understand why are they into this and the proper solutions to that.
Okay.
So when I'm telling you that I can make things happen in this country, I can make it happen. I'm one of the few young people in this country. When most of these presidential candidates that are going around now, when they were hiding under their bed and saying that the military leaders of our time should transmute into civilian leaders, following them, or that they should never leave power, we said we would deliver democracy into this country. I was 22 years old. I made it happen 10 years later, not by myself alone, but so there are people who have the mind, the courage, the composure to see into the future and know that a few people can change their world.
I think many people say you fall short because you seem to think you can do things by
many people were saying I fall short. In 2019, I was here in front of you in 2019. You guys were laughing at me. The person you elected in 2019 that you were happy about, look at where he put you now. That's true. Have you imagined?
Right.
Yes, I want to put education in education and not just literacy. We need to be literate and educated a lot. And
where will you find the money?
Why are you always asking about where would we find the money?
Because you have to be able to fund things.
When we are funding thieves in this country, billions of dollars, they are stealing it. You are asking me where will I find the money when Nigeria has got money. The problem with Nigeria is not that we don't have money. It is that it's being shared by a few. If the little money we have is being used appropriately, your accountant general will not walk away with 150 billion. And that is not like that. The population of Nigeria is big. The problem is the population of the thieves, which is not big, but they are taking the biggest of our resources. So we want to stop that. Let everybody who can afford to send their children to school, send their children to school. Is your problem. But don't steal government funds to send your children to school and then prevent students who are supposed to have access to their own national resources.
Please, how do you ensure that the subsidy, like you said, is not stolen and you only pay for the subsidy that goes directly to the people? I'm asking for practical plans.
Was I not the one who outed all the subsidy thieves on Sahara Reporters in 2004? Did you forget? I know them individually. By the time I come to government, they know that they're out of business. And then, because I know them, I know all the people who are in charge of stealing subsidy money in Nigeria. I'm not saying this to brag. I know them, they know me. I know what each one of them is stealing. I know people who were importing water into Nigeria under Jonathan, who called it petrol.
Okay.
Did it not happen? The fact that I'm passionate about how fast Nigeria should have developed doesn't mean that I don't want to carry people along. I believe in people. I've been on the side of the masses. The injuries I've suffered the most, I've suffered because even when I could have been comfortable, I come back to take on battles with others.